Everyone trying to fix burnout is looking in the wrong place. A study of over 1,300 clinicians found that local work culture predicts burnout 13 times more than documentation does. 13 times more. Most people describe a toxic work environment like it's a vibe. The manager who undermines you, the team that complains constantly, or the culture where people smile to your face and undermine you behind your back. But I'm a behavior analyst, and when I look at the same environment, I see something different. I see a system, one that is slowly sucking the life out of you until you can't remember why you even became a clinician in the first place. Most clinicians in a toxic workplace think that they have two options: stay and let it keep consuming them, or quit. But there is a third option. You can learn to respond to your environment differently. And when you do, it loses its power over you. That is a learnable skill. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how. The behaviors happening around you every day are actively pulling you down. They're changing your behavior in directions that you wouldn't choose if you were thinking clearly. Your supervisor dismisses your concerns often enough that you stop raising them. Your colleagues vent about clients and each other so routinely that you start joining in, not because that's who you are, but because the environment has made it the path of least resistance. You say yes to things you can't sustain because saying no has never gone well. None of that is a personal failing. It's what happens when you spend time in a system that was never designed with your well being in mind. And once you can see it for what it is, you can finally take back control of how you show up at work. There's a 3-step framework that makes that possible. I call it PPA: plan, pause, align. These 3 steps work differently because you're no longer at the mercy of how everyone else around you is behaving. I want to walk you through each step: what it is, why it works, and exactly what it looks like inside a real clinical workplace. So, the first step is plan, and it starts before you even walk through the door. You can't predict every difficult moment a toxic workplace is going to throw at you, but you can think through the situations that consistently pull you away from where you want to be. The colleague who vents to you about everyone else, the meeting that always goes sideways, the supervisor whose feedback leaves you second guessing yourself for the rest of the day. Those situations may not be predictable in their timing, but they are recognizable. And having a plan for how you'll respond when they show up is completely different from trying to figure it out in the moment. This is where the ACT matrix comes in. It's a simple 4-step tool that starts with one question: who and what matters most to you in your workplace? Think about the colleagues you genuinely care about, the clients you show up for every day, the kind of clinician that you actually want to be. Maybe you value a coworker who has become a close friend. Maybe you value being someone your team can count on. Whatever it is, get really specific about what actually matters to you at work. From there, answer the question: what difficult thoughts, feelings, or memories come up for you when you're in that toxic environment? This might be the supervisor who threw you under the bus when you made an honest mistake, the creeping self-doubt that follows you home, or the feeling that no matter what you do, it won't be enough. These aren't weaknesses. They are internal experiences that the environment has been producing for you. You're not judging them, you're just noticing them, and noticing them is the first step toward responding deliberately in difficult situations instead of automatically. Then you answer the question: what do you do to get relief from those feelings? This might be something like complaining to your spouse at the end of the day, scrolling on your phone between sessions, or even watching your back so carefully that you can't focus on your work. These are the automatic responses that the environment has trained you into. They make sense. They provide temporary relief, but they move you away from the things that actually matter most in your career. And the last step is where the plan actually gets built. What could you do that would move you toward the things that matter most to you? Maybe it's staying focused on your work without getting pulled into the gossip that's happening around you. Maybe it's having an honest conversation with your supervisor about the impact the culture is having on you. Maybe it's using your weekly planning time to protect the parts of your week that the environment hasn't destroyed yet. And for some people, the most values aligned move is starting to look for a new position where there's an environment that actually aligns with what they care about. That last step is your plan. You built it from your values before the moment arrived. Now you're ready for it. The second step in our framework is pause. This is the step that happens in the moment when the situation you plan for actually arrives. Your colleague starts venting about another team member. Your supervisor dismisses your concern in front of everyone, or the team meeting that goes exactly the way you knew it would. Most people react before they even realize they had a choice in how they respond. The pause is how you create the space to make one. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't require you to excuse yourself or take a breath or do anything that looks different from the outside. It's the moment where you catch yourself before you respond automatically. And then you intentionally respond the way you already decided you would in the plan step. This is what makes the plan step so important. That pause alone isn't enough. A pause without a plan is just a hesitation. You're still standing in the middle of the situation with nothing to change about how you respond. But when you've already worked through the matrix, already connected to what matters, already decided how you want to respond, that pause gives you somewhere to go. You already know what you're going to do. You just have to do it. And that response doesn't have to be dramatic. When your colleague pulls you into gossip about someone on your team, your response might be redirecting the conversation or modeling something different or simply not adding fuel to it. None of those look like a confrontation from the outside, but every one of them is a choice that you made, not a response the environment made for you. And then the third step is align. And this is the step that turns a one-time response into a skill. After the moment has passed, after you paused, after you responded intentionally, you need to come back to the matrix. You ask yourself one question. Did the way I responded move me toward the things that matter most to me or away from them? If it moved you toward the things that you value, then the plan worked. Notice that. That response is worth repeating. If it moved you away, that's information. Maybe the situation showed up differently than you anticipated. Maybe the automatic response was stronger than you expected. Maybe your plan needs to be more specific for that particular trigger. Whatever it is, that information goes straight back into your plan for next time. This is what most people miss when they try to change their behavior in a toxic environment. They white knuckle through a difficult moment. It doesn't go the way they wanted, and they take that as evidence that nothing's ever going to change. Align reframes that completely. Every response, whether it went the way you planned or not, gives you something to work with. The environment stays the same, but your ability to navigate it gets stronger every single time you go through this loop. And that is how a toxic workplace loses its power over you, one response at a time. Plan, pause, align works because it's a practice, something you do consistently, week after week, until responding intentionally becomes more natural than responding automatically. But a practice needs a dedicated time in your week where you actually sit down, work through the matrix, and build your plan before Monday arrives. Without that, the best intentions get lost in the craziness of your week before you can follow through. That's exactly what Master Your Week is designed for. It's a planning tool built specifically for clinicians, one that gives you the structure to protect your time, manage your capacity, and start your week with a plan already in place. The planning practice that makes PPA work isn't something you have to figure out on your own. It's already built in. The link is in the description.